Projects and organization, what's the deal? To give a proper answer to this question, we first need to understand the final aim of a company organization. We know that complex activities must be split into more straightforward tasks, manageable by individuals or group of individuals. The single outputs must then be recombined to deliver a final output. When we speak about organization, we consider mainly how to split and then to recombine the tasks. Projects, but also processes, are the tools that managers use to recombine the job. How it is split instead depends mainly on the company's organizational form. Organizational theories tell us that companies can choose different forms of macro-organizations, ranging from the functional to the divisional ones, per region, products or clients. Even in this second case, though, at the lowest level of a division, the organization is almost always designed in sub-functions that aggregate people with the same skills and doing similar jobs. For the sake of simplicity, as this is not a course about organizational design, we will consider a base case of a company organized by functional departments. Typical departments can be manufacturing, research and development, often called R&D, purchasing, marketing, including the selling function, human resource management, accounting and finance, and ICT. In these departments, we usually find human resources with similar skills and sharing the same competencies and perspectives, all the marketing people on the one side, all the production ones on the other. This organizational form might seem ineffective if we consider that activities will be hardly self-contained into a single functional department. For example, the production activity will require estimates from the sales department, materials coming from the purchasing department, manufacturing, and all of the logistics activities connected. Similarly, a new product development will require inputs from the marketing department, components from the purchasing department, design from the research and development, industrialization and process design by manufacturing, and so on. In other words, hardly processes like production or projects like new product development will be self-contained into a single functional department. We usually say that both projects and processes cut the organization horizontally, which means they require splitting the job across different organizational units and then recombining it. But functions, unfortunately, don't always cooperate and collaborate efficiently for at least two main reasons: the objectives trade-off and the intergroup conflicts. Regarding the first, we can imagine that all functions' main goal might be the same, for example, the company profit or growth. Nevertheless, when the main goal is split into functional sub-goals, some trade-offs might appear. Consider, for example, a company having the profit growth as a primary goal. When seen from a marketing and sales perspective, this means to sell more products, which might imply to have uncountable product variants to serve every possible customer need. The same main goal, though, seen from the manufacturing point of view, means to reduce the production cost. This reduction might be easily achieved by having a single version of a product to reduce the setup times, resource training, the emergency supply of components, and so on. It is not surprising that the two departments can experience a conflict not on the primary goal, but about how to achieve it. Besides the possible trade-off between objectives, we can also have intergroup conflicts among people in different functional departments. This is a subtle dynamic of a human brain well described by the Sheriff's Roberts Cave experiment in the 50s, which describes the conflict originated between different groups that compete for scarce resources. In the experiment, 22 white, 11-year-old boys were sent to a special remote summer camp in Oklahoma, Roberts Cave State Park. The boys were divided into two groups and gave themselves a name, the Eagles and the Rattlers. During a 4-day series of competitions between the groups, mainly physical and sports competitions, prejudice became apparent between the two groups, both physical and verbal. Experimenters then attempted to reduce the intergroup conflict, forcing the groups to work together to reach a common goal, like cleaning the camp or cooking for the whole community. Still, this had the opposite effect, and the level of conflict among the groups increased even more. It is important to note that the boys were very homogeneous, same age, socioeconomic and religious background. Moreover, they were assigned to groups randomly. This means that there were no other reasons for conflict but belonging to different, randomly defined groups. Thus, Sheriff showed that being part of groups competing for limited resources increases the level of interpersonal conflict, a dynamic that we all experiment in our organizations daily, under the shape of prejudice, such as marketing people are like this, or production people only care about that. So, to conclude, we saw that both processes and projects require functional departments to collaborate and integrate their efforts. But we also saw that this is hard because of the trade-off effects and the intragroup conflicts. Now, we must consider that these dynamics are challenging process management hardly, but become even dramatic in projects. Unlike processes, indeed, projects are done only once and need to be successful at the first attempt. Coordinating organizational units' efforts is critical in projects and calls for a structured approach to project organization management.